Are we here? I hope. Yes, no. Oh dear. Hi, everybody. I'm just trying to sign into my own channel. Hi. Hi, Brittany. Hi, Candy. Candy, you are such a wonderful friend. Fibs, you're always there. You always say hi. Not that you all don't. Thank you, Arlene. Thank you for being my one and only mod, and I hope you don't mind. And this is going to be great. And we're doing master boards, and I figured out how to do a master board by watching Nina Rabina, and I think several other people have talked about her. And if you haven't discovered her yet on YouTube, check her out. She is amazing. She does just incredible stuff. And I'm going to try to straighten myself out, which is, And a lot of us are saying hello to one another because we've been hopping all along. I actually woke up early and caught the very early ones. And so been at it all day. And again, hi to everybody, Barbara and Aunt Beck and Miss Mary Berry. You're in NYC, correct? And Patty O, how are you? And Girly Girl creates how? Hi. Oh, thank you, Arlene, for posting her channel. This woman is incredible. So as you can see in front of me, I have a plethora, and plethora is a word that sportscasters, you're here with the pizza, all right, Roy. Sportscasters like to use the word plethora, kind of showing off their degree in communications. No, I don't mean to be rude, but they seem very proud when they shout the word plethora. But plethora obviously means lots. And a lot of people have been displaying the newest Timmy Hall, and I'm going to use an oldie Timmy Hall. So these are, it's so hard to resist buying Timmy stuff. And I have a lot of Timmy stuff. So I'm going to do my master board based on Timmy. Hi, Teresa. And I've got, as you can see, a plethora of Timmy stuff. And I'm going to move this out of the way because I really want to show you some of the master boards that I have created probably over the last 2 years, being inspired by Nina Rabina. And I even said that on some of the master boards, I've actually made envelopes. And I use that handy dandy, what is it? We Are Memories envelope maker. And I love it. And so here is an envelope that I made out of a copy of a master board. Here's another one in a different shape. And I wanted to share with you because the other day, and I can't remember where we were, I think it was Aunt Beck, and Aunt Beck started pasting down strips of paper from other, printouts that she had. And I had a whole bunch of these also, and I followed Aunt Beck. Aunt Beck, you are such an inspiration, and you get, I think, our creative juices flowing, at least for me you do, and I appreciate that so much. So I did this, and I'm gonna say that this would constitute, to me, in my opinion, a master board. A master board meaning something that you can make a copy of if you have a printer, which I do. And I did this, and I kind of brayered over some gold paint. Every time I use gold paint, I have to think of Mary. So this is a nod to Mary. And I used a fine liner, which is also a nod to Mary, because Mary is the queen of fine liners. And my fine liner is filled with black gesso, and it works fine. So I did some scribbling, and I can make copies of this and cut it up, or tear it up, or whatever. So this is my most current masterboard. I mean, I didn't think of it as a masterboard when I first did it, but you know what? It kind of is. And there is more. This is one of my original masterboards. Again, my interpretation was you kind of grab bits and pieces, and you kind of glue them down. This is dimensional. This is a die cut, and these are some collage pieces, and a label from a gin that I was trying out, and a ticket to me. And so this is another master board that I made. And this is probably one of my first ones I made. And this is another one. This one is not as vibrant. I was searching for the originals. But again, this is a die cut. And this is actually a picture of my father as a 1-year-old. And these are some family photos. They're kind of hard to see. But again, I glued it down, and I used some of the stuff that you rip out of a spiral journal and use that as a border. This is another original. And hi, Holly. Hi, Beth. Loved your stream. You are always just so wonderful with sharing all of your ideas and your love and your techniques of arting. You are phenomenal. And I'm so glad that you are a Florida neighbor. One of these days, it won't be that hard for us to get together. We can just meet halfway and park our little butts in some public library somewhere and craft away. So here's another original. I was feeling very thrifty on this one, because here's another original. And I did it on the other side. So there's no law against double dipping or double crafting. The only problem with this is you can't cut. Well, you can make a copy of it. And here's another one. I actually made this one earlier today. My idea of a masterboard is sometimes it's just scraps that you can grab, and some stamps. And this is a stamp that I carved based on another stamp. And sometimes I see an image in a magazine, and I carve it out on the, what was that? Craft Bee thingy. And they sent us these things. So here's the stamp that I carved. And here's this little, I love, this little figure. Sometimes you see a little figure and it just sings to you. And this one kind of just, I liked. You've got this little image of this person with their hair blowing in the air. So I made a stamp out of that. And I saw this bird in another magazine, and I copied it and carved it out. And so is the same with this one. Let's see. Oh, that's another one. That's her. So again, making your own stamps. And I stamp on the corners, on the edges also. And little doohickeys here. And you can, if you see here, I stamp that along the side of this. Whoops. Ooh, I don't know where I am. And I made a border for that. So, you know, homemade stamps, handmade stamps. But this is one I actually made earlier today. I did do the other side. Now, I don't know whether this would constitute a masterboard, but I guess technically it would be considered a collage. But I just glued down bunches of faces and stuff, and I printed it out. Now on my printer, I mean, I have an Epson, a Canon regular printer, right? And you can print it out with no border. So that gives you, that would print all of this. If you print it out regularly, you get that 1/4 inch border around. But this was kind of, you know, a lot of people wouldn't consider this a masterboard, but I think it's something that you can cut up, you know, and use somewhere else. And here is a black and white print of that, so you can do black and white. And the other thing I've done, I've actually added, attached a piece of tissue paper onto a piece of regular paper and run it through the printer, so you can get this printed out on a piece of tissue, which is really cool when you lay that down because it becomes kind of transparent. I want to say hi to everybody that I've missed coming in. And again, thank you so much for being here. Yes, thank you for the thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that would be greatly appreciated also. So this is a black and white. And again, this is when I printed it out with no borders. And this is the other one printed out now. Since I made those original master boards, I have since purchased a color laser printer. And you can see the vibrancy of using a laser printer. When I bought this, yeah, I like the chicken too. When I did that, I was thinking of Colleen. This is a nod to Colleen. And the color laser printer was very reasonable. Unfortunately, you can't scan anything. So what I did, I literally took a picture of the original with my cell phone. And from my cell phone, I was able to print it on the laser printer. But you can see how vibrant those colors are. And again, that's the other one printed out on a regular printer, on the regular inkjet printer. And here are some other, this is, you know, these are just prints. But as I said earlier, you can make those into envelopes. If you use that envelope maker, there's several size envelopes that you can make. So that's what these are. So that's the concept of a masterboard. Is at least my understanding is you make the masterboard and you print it out, and you can use it as background envelopes. If you use it on cardstock, obviously you can make tags. That's not a, you know, that's an easy thing that you can do. So let's get back to the business of this tonight's masterboard. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I've been kind of working on those for a while. I went into a totally different direction today, and I don't know many of us that do these hops. I have a mindset, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do that, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't work out, and then I'm embarrassed to say that I've been at this since early this morning, and anyway, here we are. So I'm going to do some Timmy, and I think I'll add some Timmy. Oh, no, Melissa, no. Your art does not need to get better before you masterboard. No. Oh, man, I wish I could show you what I threw away. Oh, no, don't feel that way. A masterboard, typically, I grab what's sitting on my desk. Oh, don't do that. Thank you, Aunt Beck. I appreciate. No, a masterboard really is a place to just lay stuff down. And it could be just shite. I'll say shite because that's how the Irish say the other word. I love the Irish. Anyway, it's just shite lying around and you just lay it down and then you just glue it down. That's all. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be anything. Doesn't have to. Oh. My beloved Lily is tearing around, and she is my cat, one of my two cats, and I'm very, 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 yes, exactly. Aunt Beck, you nailed it. Freeing, yes, and just, I should have really done that. I should have just, because the one that I just showed you that I made today, that was exactly that. I'm going to use a glue stick. And I know I bought a case of the Amazon-y glue from the Amazon River. No, I'm just kidding. The Amazon. I bought a case of this, and you know what? There's a lot of, oh, thank you, Arlene, for including that link to Nina, because I tell you what, I've learned so much from her. She goes rather fast, but that's why you can always go back and replay it. I'm not embarrassed to say that I will go back and slow it down. She may be talking like, but it doesn't matter because I can watch what she's doing in slowed speed. So if you're not familiar with slowing the speed down, I do it all the time. It's just to kind of catch it, right? Now, the only problem with the Amazon glue, folks, is when it sticks, there is no wiggle room. So you get it down. Good old Timmy. You worry that. Oh. Yes. And you know what the bottom line is, Melissa? Is black gesso. I love my black gesso. There is many times where I have just black gessoed it out. I'm going to deviate from Timmy here and add a little dictionary pages. Oh, handyman. That's a good thing to have. And we'll stick that there. If we're all good, how are we doing? The layer is only, yes, absolutely. Well, Aunt Beck, I tried the painting on fabric, and I had bought a drop cloth, a canvas drop cloth, and I didn't have fabric paint, and I didn't have glycerin. And so I was just laying down regular paint and brayering it on, which I thought was really an idea. And I hate to throw anything out, but oh man, it was a disaster. But I'm going to try it again because I have plenty of canvas. And I didn't buy a 9x12 drop cloth. I only bought a 6 foot by 9. And that is a lot of material. Yes, I agree with you. And Kathy Arbor, I painted along with you. And I used my Inktense pencils. And I was not thrilled with the outcome, but I have another, I literally, and I will show you so you will know. I'm going to try it again. This is just a aside to Kathy Arbor. And I thank her for being here. But Kathy Arbor, look, I have another printout, and I am going to attempt this again. And I wasn't happy, so you do it again. All right, so we've got our base, and let's do some Timmy ephemera. And I'm just going to start laying stuff down and moving it around and figuring out how it's going to look, right? We need, I actually, you know what? I am actually, I'm actually kind of embarrassed about all this ephemera, but you don't think about that, right? When you're buying it, you buy a bundle here. And Mary, I didn't even bring out the Timmy paper dolls because you're right. That is by far one of the best values. Hi, Tanya. I had so much fun being in the 24-hour marathon. And that was crazy, wasn't it? And I'm ready for a second go around if you'll have me. So I'm going to look at all these tags and leave it to Timmy. He even includes the string. What a guy. If you watch his recent, live stream YouTube's on Facebook when he's showing off his new stuff, it is amazing what he is doing. Now this is going to get a little bulky, but you know what? It doesn't really matter because you can make a copy of it on your printer, and then it becomes, ooh, I like the pink. Even though I'm not a fan of pink, I think this needs a little pink. So I was telling you about Lily's right here. She's limping horribly. And I took her to the vet. I don't want to fill up space with this. I took her to the vet about a year and a half ago. And I thought she had gotten kind of like a bit of a splinter in her paw. She's an inside cat, but I have one of those mats outside the kitty litter box to catch the kitty litter. And those of you who've had cats, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes she would paw that. And I was afraid that maybe one of those fibers got up inside of her paw. And, she started limping. And, you tried, you're hoping things will go away or it'll get better. And it didn't. And I love this one. Skim Milk, Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I don't know if anybody has to drink skim milk my heart goes out to you because it's like colored water. Just saying, if you have to drink it, you have to drink it, but I would rather not. And so here are the ephemera packs. And we'll take some of these out. Oot. So anyway, she's limping. She started limping really badly in the last couple of days. And I'm giving her medicine for arthritis. It's funny. It's like I have rheumatoid arthritis, and my cat has arthritis. Yeah, Cheryl, I've already been there, did that. Last year I took her to the vet, Dr. Grimsley, not a good name for a vet. And I took her to Dr. Grimsley, and I didn't see him. I saw his other vet that was in the office, and it was, I got pretty upset because I kept on saying it was her right paw, and this woman kept on looking at the left paw, and I kept on saying it's her right paw. And finally, the tech said, it's her, under her breath, she said, it's her right paw. So she finally started looking at poor Lily's right paw, poking around. And nothing really got better. But of course, I had to come back. Mary is saying above, hope she doesn't need, yeah, well, long story short, I brought her back. Oh, they did x-rays, and initially they did x-rays on the wrong paw. And then they finally, because the tech said, you got the wrong paw, they did the x-rays on the correct paw, which happens to be her right paw. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway, so after we went through all of this, and look at this wee little, isn't that cute? A little wee postcard. Let's see where this is going. Let's stick that right there. And I took her back, and it was determined that they were going to anesthetize her, put her under, so they could thoroughly examine the paw. So I brought her back the next day, and of course, she, just like human surgery, they didn't want me to feed her or give her anything to eat for 24 hours before surgery. Her brother from another mother, I know. Yes, I've already, yeah, Mary, I got it. Yeah, if that's okay, I will just ramble on until the hook comes and drags me off stage. No, I can do that. If that's okay with all of you, I can carry on. And so I didn't feed her. And her brother from another mother was confused as to where the heck is the food. And there was no food because I was following the vet's orders. These are the wee ones, the wee bits. Oh, look at that! Oh, that's cute. And when I took her in, they were so impressed that when they had put Lily under, the vet said, her stomach was empty. You really didn't feed her. And I said, well, no, I didn't feed her because you told me not to feed her. I follow directions. I'm really good at that. Just tell me what to do. And for the most part, I'll do it. So after all of that, she was anesthetized, put under, and they're my hands. And you don't want to see me. Anyway, they put her under, and it's okay, Mary. And they couldn't find anything at all. Nothing. Not a zilch. So we went home, and I know several of you have had unwarranted visits to the vets, and it is so expensive. And, I know everybody has to make a living, and I get that. And $800 later, I kid you not, $800 later, nothing was resolved. And I'm giving her, yeah, I know, Roy. Yeah, Shelley messaged me earlier. But the weather is, yeah, all of Hawaii is in my heart. I mean, in Maui, that's just a horrible thing. Weather, we know what Houston and Texas went through, and weather-wise, and the scary thing about weather, you got no control. Well, depending on how you think, but you have no control of what's going on weather-wise, and that's a terrifying thing. But I think they're not in the flood zone, so to speak. And, Maui weather doesn't really, we don't see that on the national news. I'm not aware of that. And when I lived outside of Buffalo, we would have, raging blizzards, snow everywhere, no power. And it never really made the national news. So, yeah, let's give Shelley some strength and love for she and her family. I think her father-in-law is still with them. And when you have a weather event like that, it's really difficult. Especially, I don't know whether she is without power or just without internet. She didn't really tell me. I know that she had been reaching out to Mary earlier, and then she was able to get a message to me. So I kind of knew that this was coming. Now, I didn't see it on the news till a couple of days ago, right, Auntie Lupe? You just, national news it's not local, and so it's really hard to deal with major weather events. In Florida, sometimes gets news when we have a major hurricane, but sometimes, well, I guess we always do, And when they had Hurricane Irma and it wiped out, the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, and weather is so scary because these are things that we really have no control over, other than literally physically getting, oh, you just got the message now. Yeah, she messaged me just before I went on, Mary, and she said she couldn't contact you. So, but we're good. I can hang out as long as, yeah. You're right. Absolutely, Arlene. Yep. And, Hawaii is an island nation, and it's out there. I mean, it is far, far away. And they're not going to get, the press that Florida's going to get or Texas is going to get. And that doesn't make their suffering any less at all. That's for sure. And then a couple of years ago, they had all of that lava, the lava flows that wiped out thousands of acres. And Maui is not that big of an island. I'm just plopping down Timmy stuff. And I hope hope I'm not boring you guys, but I've got so much Timmy stuff from years of collecting, and ephemera. Oh no, oh my gosh. I can't believe I did that. I have my own ephemera. How many of you, have any of you started to collect your own ephemera? I didn't know she had. Oh, yeah, Colorado big snow. Yeah. Well, I lived outside of Buffalo. And we would have these massive lake effect snow events, but it never made the news because, you know, that's Buffalo. Who's going to talk about snow in Buffalo? How is that news? I mean, they would think you're crazy if you're talking about snow in Buffalo. What do you mean, snow in Buffalo? That's what it does in Buffalo. It snows. Get over it. Let's see. You know, I'm going to glue these down, and then instead of using, yeah, I do. I've got bits and pieces of insurance papers, and I have to tell you, I know Timmy's people are awesome, but I'm going to share with you in a moment my own peeps. I have my own Timmy peeps that I have photographed, and I don't have any sophisticated equipment. I literally take out my i6 iPhone and I take a picture of the original photograph. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with, yes, there's something called, I am a Google fan. I love Google. I love everything Google. But there is something called Google Drawings. I'm just reading Holly's, yeah. That's awesome. Well, I will, I wish I had brought it out, Mary. It's in the other room, but I will share my own ephemera in the future. I was just going to do Timmy, but I do have some ephemera from, I actually have my grandfather's. Now I'm dating myself. I'm going to be 72 in a couple of weeks, but I have my grandfather's. I keep on going the wrong way. I have my grandfather's discharge papers from World War I. And that's real ephemera, right? And they talk about the fact that in the discharge papers, they say that he was a decent man. And it's handwritten. His discharge papers are handwritten. And I also have, he had his Social Security card made into like a metal engraved plate. And I have that also. And so I have some, you know, personal ephemera, and I have some insurance policies that were my parents' that I have saved, and a couple of other things. I mean, Timmy's stuff is great because it's there and it's easy, you know. But I'm sure you all might have bits and pieces. Even I never even thought about it. My birth certificate. My birth certificate is not a certificate that would be accepted legally, because it doesn't have an embossed, a birth certificate has to have an embossed print on it. So my original birth certificate doesn't have any embossed print, mark on it. It just has a footprint of my little tiny itsy bitsy footsie, whatever. And it just says, you know, the name of the hospital, which was Newport, Rhode Island. I was born on the Navy base. But that's ephemera. I mean, you can make copies of that stuff. I never even thought about that. Do you have printer that can pull coffee dyed paper? Yes, I can do that. Yes. That's a great, yes. Arlene, I can do that. Yes, that's a great idea. Absolutely. I can do that. Thank you. That's a, yeah. What I use something that's called PhotoScan. It's a Google thing. And I was getting back to Google and copying, taking photographs, right? And take a photo with your iPhone or what, I'm using Google. And I take a picture, I scan it, take a picture, and then I send it to my Drive, Google Drive. And then what you can do is you can, once it's in Google Drive, open up, if you're not familiar with this, it's called Google Drawings. And it is an incredible, robust program that allows you to manipulate photographs, and it's free. Google Drawing. If you open up the Google Drive, you have Google Docs, Google whatever. Just keep on scrolling down. It's not on the first screen. Keep on scrolling until you get to Google Drawing. Open up Google Drawing. And once you get into Google Drawing, you can paste any photograph that you have on your phone. Copy it and paste it into Google Drawing. Once you get it into Google Drawing, you can resize it. You can flip it. You can, make it 90-degree flip. You can change the color of it. There's, you can reposition. You can change it from color to black and white to sepia to everything that you want to do. You can totally manipulate a photograph, and then you just print it out. They said, do not post your COVID shot card on Facebook. Well, why would you post it? Oh, okay. You know what? I know what you're saying, Cheryl, because you know what? My son did that. My son did that. My son is a teacher in Utah, and Utah vaccinated their teachers weeks ago. But anyway, check out Google Drawings and download your photographs into that, and then you can manipulate it in all sorts of wonderful ways. That's interesting that you should say that, because I just got my appointment after trying for 4 weeks to get an appointment. Actually, I'm doing that on my iMac, Arlene. But I have downloaded Chrome onto my iMac. So I have an iMac, but I'm running Chrome on my iMac. So, and it works just fine because that's what I'm using. I'm using my iMac. And it's just one of those things. I know about it because when I was teaching, I used it a lot. Okay, as long as you use Chrome, you should be able to just download Google Drive and you're all set to go. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of goodies there. I learned all of those. It's not an app. It's actually part of the Google Drive suite or platform. Google Drive is kind of like their answer to Windows. They have, docs, they have documents and PowerPoints and everything. Yeah, it's part of Google Drive. Yep. And it's totally free. And it's very friendly user. I mean, it's really easy to manipulate. Yes, it's part of Google Docs. It's if you can get to Google Docs, you can scroll down. If you open Google Drive, just scroll down and you'll see. I'm out of camera. You keep on going to just scroll down and you'll see Google Docs, and you keep on scrolling down. You might have to go to the next screen, and then you'll see Google Drawings. And your challenge is get your photo or whatever image you want into Google Drawings. And once you get into Google Drawings, it's pretty intuitive. You can figure out, and you can manipulate it any way you want. It's really a very free, robust editing tool. I mean, I used it all the time when I was teaching. And Google really jumped on the education bandwagon. I mean, Apple was kind of in there and they kind of blinked, and then Google jumped in and they came up with something called Google Classroom. And what are you saying? You want to be actively using your drive space. They will be taking away inactive space in July. Okay. Well, I just see what okay. I use it almost every day. Heads up, ladies. If YouTube shows up in chat, it is a troll. I'm not sure what you mean, Angie. I got an email from them. Okay. All right. I'm not sure. Okay, Mary. I'm not, Angie. I mean, I know Arlene's my one and only, the greatest mod in the world. Arlene, do you see anything? If YouTube shows up in chat. Well, I don't know what you mean. You mean they're going to come in and watch this boring stream? No. Why would they want to watch a bunch of people? Oh, Andrew. Val, I'm not, I don't know. Honestly, I know that you can download Google Drive in Android. I just don't know how. No, but there is a troll that shows up at. Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. I'm just rambling on here. And I'm going to bring out my relatives. Okay. And you can see that I could go on for hours with Timmy stuff, but we're going to have Timmy take a back seat to my, oh my gosh. We all know what this is like, right? When we're live streaming, you got everything in front of you, and then the gremlins descend and everything disappears. And I am not kidding you. My family relatives were right here. And it's like they have walked away. Oh, really? I am so sorry. And oh, there they are, under my cell phone. Ha, ha, ha. All right. Mary, you just let me know when you can drag me out with one of those hooks. But again, this is an example of Google drawing, using Google Drawings. These are pictures. I took pictures of the originals with my, again, ancient iPhones, right? And transferred them to Google Drawing, and then I manipulated them, and then I printed them out in Google Drawings. And these are my relatives. And this is just on regular paper. This is a picture that I took with my phone and then transferred it to Google Drawings and then was able to print it out. This is my grandfather and his wife, Julia. And I have no idea who these two people are. That's the problem with a lot of these family photos. Okay, Arlene. Thank you so much, Arlene. You're the best. Here's a photograph. Now, this is a little dark, and in Google Drawing, it doesn't have the capability of really changing that. I take that back. There is a contrast, a lightness and such. And here is my grandfather here, right here. And this is a pretty rough looking group of people. This photograph was probably taken, I'm going to guess, about, I don't know, 1915s? Okay. Yeah, what the heck? As long as people are hanging in there, no one's really abandoned ship. And this is, again, another picture that I printed out. And this is my mother's family. I'm sure this is very boring, but this is, I do believe that this is my great-grandmother. This is a picture I actually sent to Mary. And this is my great-grandparents, Margaret and Abelard Brule. And she had 10 kids. And the rumor was that he was half Indian. He was Canadian Canuck of the Brule tribe. And he was a horse thief. And those were pretty fighting words back in the day. And I sent Mary one of these in one of my happy mails. And I just, look at her waist. Come on, 10 kids. And one of her children was Mongoloid, and she had put him in, and everyone insisted that she put him, Tommy was his name, and they insisted, oh, you can't take care of him, and you need to put him in an institution. And she listened to the pressure, and she couldn't stand it. And she would go visit him every day. And she brought him home. She couldn't do it. She just could not abide by that. My mother always said that with all of the kids and grandkids, her grandmother, Margaret, always made her feel like she was the one that was loved the most. And yeah, I mean, what a remarkable woman she must have been. This woman actually worked in a lumber camp, Canadian Yukon, where she cooked for lumberjacks. And I would have loved to have known this woman. And her parents were Scotch Presbyterians, and they were all professionals. I mean, doctors and lawyers. And then she marries this ne'er-do-well, Abelard, and they disowned her. They absolutely disowned her. So she's just the type of person that don't you want to know her? She's just what women went through. This is my great-grandfather, and I didn't write on the back. This is my father's grandfather. Don't you? And this is one of those cabinet cards that I, printed out. So, and look at this little thing in an Easter bonnet. That's me. Oh, God. And look at the clothing here. Isn't this great? That's my grandmother, Viola, who was one of Margaret's 10. This is Margaret Brule in later years. But aren't these great? So I have my own. Here's my grandmother. I don't know who this other woman is. That's Viola. And she married a good Irishman, James Conley. And here they are again. Again, I'm just printing this out on photo paper. And this is an Epson. This is an Epson printer. Nothing special. I think this is my father. They dress little boys in dresses. This is my great-grandmother, Lily Horenberger. I hope you know. I'm just sharing this with you because we've got time to kill. And this is my Aunt Margaret from New Bedford, Massachusetts. And she was a librarian. And every year, that's her son, James. And every year, I would get a book. Now, as a kid growing up, it was not that great. Because at that point in time, I was not that much of a reader. Now, I actually have a couple of books that she gave me. You Googled it and it came up? Okay, that's great. And this is the other grandmother on the maternal side, or the paternal side. And this is my father's father. And he and his brother both had the same first name. And I guess that was a common thing. They were Frederick William and Frederick Carl, and so they went by their middle names, but they both had the same first name. And this is my grandfather, Jimmy, James, and I'm not sure who these folks are. Isn't that a shame? But again, these are pictures that I had that I took a picture of with my, I want to emphasize, my i6 iPhone that's ancient. And took a picture, literally sent it to, yeah, I know, I love that one. The 3 children, isn't that cute? And just sent it to iDrive and then downloaded into Google Drive and manipulated it. This is my father, Carl, and his cousin Fred. And they grew up together on Staten Island, and they were about a year and a half old. And here they are. Doesn't he look like Spanky? Oh my gosh. But that's my dad, and that's his cousin Fred. I've talked about Fred online. He was the big time lawyer on Staten Island. And here's my dad again. You see where he kind of looks like Spanky. I love this picture because this is when they were about 15 years old and they were Boy Scouts. If you look in the back, you can see Council of America. It's Boy Scout Council of America. And this is my dad. And my youngest son, Richard, looks just like him without the hair. I mean, they had these big mops of hair. But that's the guys, and they were teenagers. And Fred would start fights. Okay, Mary, I got it. My dad would come to Fred's defense, but my father was pretty low key, and Fred was very loud and vivacious and was ready to start a fight. They would show up at Curtis High School football games, and Fred would be wielding a bat, and my father would go in and kind of help him out. And here is Margaret and Abelard many, many years later. Oh my gosh, here they are. You can see them. So, and then many years later. Whoops. Yeah, you got it. Okay. This is one of my favorite pictures. This is my mom when she was 5 years old. Eileen Conley, good Irish girl. And this is another, again, on those cabinet cards. And here's another group of my grandfather, and I'll show this picture. If you look, this picture was taken in 1915, 16. And these guys look like they're right out of Wyatt Earp. And this is my grandfather. You probably can't see it, but this is him right up here in the tree. That's him. These guys were ruffians. You wouldn't want to mess with them. I'm surprised how well my little cheapo camera's doing. This is a camera that has, folks, no software at all. You just plug it in. And here they are picnicking. And I use this card on birthday cards with my family. And look how happy they are. And the caption I use on the birthday card is, really, we're happy. It's your birthday. This must have been taken on the northern end of Manhattan Island because they were from New York City area. But this is my grandfather and my grandmother, and they don't look that happy. And here they are again. Okay, I'm going to say I see Lori. Lori's ready. I hope you all had a good time, and thank you for listening to me while I shared these wonderful photographs of my family. And if someday I can figure out how to download these, I would be more than happy to share them with you. And good night, be well, and be safe. And I finally getting my first vaccination on March 16th at 11:30 a.m. Woo! Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate Mary and this hop, and allows us to reach out to so many people. So I think I just saw Lori popped up on my iPad, and I think she's ready. So you can hop on over to Painty Girl. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everybody.